Hi, welcome to Meet the Mailers. I'm Paul Bobneck for Who's Mailing What, and today I'm talking with a highly experienced and well-traveled leader in direct mail, Keith Goodman. He is Vice President, Corporate Sales and Marketing at Modern Postcard. Now, before we get started, if you have any questions or feedback, please comment in the box below. Show your support by tapping the like button, and to get notified of when we add new videos, click on subscribe. Now let's meet the mailer. Hi, Keith. Welcome, my friend. Thanks for coming in today.
Thanks. It's great to be here. Enjoying it.
Awesome. Well, let's get started by talking about your background, specifically about how you got involved with direct mail, and then your present role, what it involves at Modern Postcard.
Yeah, it was actually a really strange turn of events. We all kind of come full circle in our lives, and I actually started in direct mail when I was about 10 years old. My dad was a serial entrepreneur, always started businesses, had a bunch of businesses, and he would always do direct mail. And as a child, we would sit around the coffee table while we're watching a movie and fold letters and insert them into envelopes and put labels and stamps on. He would mail them out. And within a few weeks, he would have customers for his new business. So it kind of always stuck with me. And as I got older, I actually got into concert promotion. And my dad kind of guided me in using direct mail to get people to shows and collecting a database, which I did over the years. Mm-hmm. Ended up accumulating a database of almost 250,000 kids in Southern California.
Wow.
And I liked rock and roll. I was able to actually use these mailings to drive people to the different facilities that I was booking for, and was very, very successful. Ended up moving into the technology industry and used direct mail through that. And it wasn't until after spending probably 10 or 15 years in the technology and entertainment industry that I ended up meeting up with a friend of mine through when we worked at Lockheed, of all places. Mm-hmm. And we started a company selling marketing data over the internet. And we were the first company to do that. It was called Think Direct Marketing back in the 90s. And it took off, and I just fell in love with the industry and have been in it ever since. So I've been with Modern Postcard almost 20 years now. And I expected to work here for 2 or 3 years and figure out what I was going to do next. And here I am 20 years later and just love the industry. It's a great industry.
Wow, that's awesome. Well, speaking broadly, what type of services does the company offer to marketers?
A wide variety of services. When we first started, we were known for selling 500 postcards for $95.
Right.
We progressed.
Yeah, absolutely.
We started layering in a lot of marketing services, understanding that in order to compete in this marketplace, our customers had to be successful. And if they weren't successful, they weren't going to come back. It didn't matter how cheap our postcards were. And as we started making that transition, we became more of a marketing services company with our own printing presses in the back. And now, not only do we offer an entire range of direct mail services, we've started to integrate in digital advertising and other types of marketing as well to start to create more of that omnichannel approach.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, so let's talk about that in a little more detail about how Modern Postcard has positioned itself today, offering what's like essentially one-stop shopping for multi-channel services, and most importantly, offering options. How do these omni-channel packages meet the needs of today's marketers?
Well, when we first created this approach, it was really for our legacy business, which was the SMB marketplace. And that's kind of where we cut our teeth, where we started. And probably about 15 years ago, we really started to focus more on some larger organizations that needed a lot of the same services. And as we started to layer on these kind of digital omni-channel type services, we did it more for the SMB marketplace to be able to create that kind of full range of marketing services and products to make it easier for them to have that single source.
Okay.
What we also found along the way is many large organizations are very, very siloed in their marketing, where they have their offline group and they have their print group and they have their digital group and they have their email group. And they're really competing against one another for budget
Yeah.
and attribution. So if they can show better attribution, they get more budget next year. So they're not really working as a team. And what we found is by offering these integrated services, we're actually helping a lot of these larger organizations by almost requiring that they now work together and kind of layer their marketing and look at not what the single last touch or first touch was that actually got the sale, but what was the magic combination? Was it email, direct mail, and digital, or was it digital and direct mail, or email and digital? What was it that really created the biggest boost in response and the lowest cost of acquisition? And by layering in these services, we're actually able to create some very, very accurate attribution models to really start to build out those answers.
Mm-hmm.
So it helps both the SMB marketplace in making easier for them to start to layer in these services, but it also gives these larger organizations a lot of information they didn't have before about how layering in these different services can cut down the cost of customer acquisition without trying to assign that attribution to an individual group or marketing medium.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. And it also gives them a variety of different price levels too, I'd imagine.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, one of the biggest developments in recent years has surely been postal retargeting. Can you explain what that is and how it works?
Yeah.
And then how it benefits companies to consider using it?
Sure. I'll actually start with the benefit. We all spend a lot of money driving people to our websites. Look at how much advertising is spent today driving people to a website, and then how much we spend on website optimization and search engine marketing. It's billions of dollars that are being spent driving people to our sites. And what is the conversion rate at our site? It's pretty low.
Yeah, really.
It's maybe 1%, 2%, 3%. And these are all people, for the most part, there's a lot of one and done, people just bouncing off the site. It wasn't the right product, what they thought it was.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of people knowing that have raised their hand, gone to our site, or your site, and they just leave. And where do they go? We don't know. They're out checking the competitors. And one of the things I ask in the seminars I do around the country is our website our best salesperson? Because a lot of people rely on the website to do a lot of heavy lifting and conversion, which websites might not necessarily be designed to do.
Right. Yep.
So how do we get those people back that have left? And that's really where postal retargeting comes in. We're all really familiar with digital retargeting, capturing the IP information and then sending digital ads back. And I think 4 or 5 years ago when it first happened, the first time I ever saw it was on Southwest Airlines. And I'm thinking, this is kind of cool. I just tried to book a flight to Orlando and now they know, and they sent me a special offer to Orlando.
Right.
It's become background noise. Everybody's using it. Everybody's doing it. It's actually driving up the cost of digital advertising.
Yeah.
And it's gotten to the point where you just expect it. And you kind of wonder how many times are they going to hit me before they stop? That's the big question now. But with Postal, it's something that shows up right around that right time period, especially for a higher value product where it's not an impulse buy. You're going to think about it. You're going to talk to somebody, go back and decide whether you want to do it. And it's a perfect product to kind of fill the gap there. It's not annoying. And the nice thing is, it's actually tactile. You can put it away. Mm-hmm. You can store it, save it for later, share it show it to other people. And the timing, it basically, you come to the site, we use a cookie, you can do it with IP, device ID, things like that. But using cookie, it actually allows you to identify the person who is on the site, not just the household or business, but the actual person based on the cookie of your computer. We match back a postal address. And then the next day a card goes out and arrives within a day or two. So it's very, very effective. It's really, really easy. And it's affordable because you're only mailing to people that have actually raised their hand. And the nice thing about the technology today is it's down to the page level. So the one and dones that bounces off the homepage, you don't mail to them.
No, you don't want that.
Only want to mail to people that have been to 2 or more pages, 3 or more pages. They've only gone to the pricing page, all the way down to cart abandons. They've only gone to the cart, didn't buy, and that's who we want to send the mailing to with a special offer. It could be free shipping or whatever. So you're only mailing to people that have raised their hand significantly saying, I'm interested in your product, but I left.
Right. Yeah, I mean, to me, that's like an advantage over digital, is because digital will just say, like, everybody, like you said, the people who just bounce, or looky-loos going from one site to the next.
Mm-hmm.
But with the postal, you can just really select out, more easily the people who spend maybe a significant amount of time, like you said, on a single product page and putting some serious thought into it. But then you can go back to them within a couple days, reach them through the mail.
Yep. Yeah, it's powerful. Here's, I kind of always, and there's times when digital advertising works. Otherwise, it wouldn't be around.
Yeah.
But nobody ever saved a digital ad.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's true.
Nobody ever said, "Wow, that's a cool ad. I want to save that on my phone." Said nobody.
Yeah. Well, are there particular types of companies or verticals that it really works best for? Like maybe B2B marketers, can they use it, or nonprofits even?
Yeah. Really, any company can use it. But I think some of the guidelines that we actually talk to our clients about is, one, you have to have a pretty significant web presence.
Okay.
I mean, we do have people that mail 1 or 2 cards a day or a couple cards a week, but that's not the norm. That's not really going to be a game changer for you. But you have to have a site that is a significant part of your sales process.
Okay.
Because you want to make sure you're targeting people that have actually entered the funnel. As far as, and the other thing is, you want a higher value, either transaction or lifetime value of the client. You are using direct mail. It's expensive. It's more expensive than a digital ad, but you only have to send one.
Right.
But you want to be able to make sure that you have a customer value that's worthy of that investment. If you're trying to sell a $9.95 product online and it's a one-time transaction, probably not the right product for you.
No.
But if you're selling a $500 product, a $200 product that people would buy on a regular basis, then yes, it makes all the sense in the world.
Mm-hmm.
So it just depends on the value. As far as you had asked about the B2B and nonprofit markets, it's a great tool for those. The nice thing about this in the B2B world is because we're using IP, you basically just identify the business. Mm-hmm. And you say, okay, anybody from this jewelry store can get a postcard, or just go to the jewelry store. When you use cookie, I actually know that it was Paul Bobneck, and we know that the card's going to go to you because it was done on your computer with your cookie.
Mm-hmm.
So it's actually very, very accurate many times in the B2B space. Now, there's a very high likelihood that it's going to go to your home address.
Right.
Which is okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. And that actually works out very well for us in the B2B market, because so many people are working in hybrid environments now, or working from home, that it actually works in our favor. So that's a really powerful thing. And when you look at the nonprofit markets, a lot of the same rules apply as a direct-to-consumer market, where you're targeting consumers, and the product is a lot different. The product is really self-satisfaction, that you helped a group that was in need. But a lot of times people will do research of a nonprofit just like they would a product that they were considering buying, and they're going to go read about them. They're going to see where their money goes, see what types of services, who they're servicing. Is it a group of people that they identify with? these are all the questions that somebody has when they're donating, and they're going to do the research before they decide to part with their money, especially today.
Yeah.
And then being able to reinforce that message with a direct mail piece within a timely period is really, really effective. So yes, it's great for the nonprofit market.
Yeah, especially for nonprofits who have like extensive presence on a website with multiple pages. When you're tracking what they're visiting, you know what they're looking at. You kind of may even see after a while, like which pages are your most popular pages that people are looking at and putting into their consideration process, like a page of testimonials, say, or you know, talking about their impact, which you should always do anyway. But if people are looking at that, that might be a part of an appeal to put on a direct mail piece and reply to them with. So I have to ask about postcards, of course. What kinds of factors or variables should marketers look at today when thinking about campaigns that use postcards?
Any campaign is 100% open rate.
Mm-hmm. Yep, there you go. Right.
No, there's a little bit more to it.
Yeah.
The decision to use postcards, a lot of people think that the growth of postcard marketing was due to cost. That it was way cheaper to do a postcard than it was to print an envelope package. But really, an envelope package with white paper with black print, maybe some spot color here and there.
Yeah.
Sub 24 white envelope, fold it up, send it out. It's probably about the same price, sometimes even cheaper, to do the letter packages than it is an oversized postcard.
Mm-hmm.
The real reason is the generational shift that's taken place over the last 10 to 15 years.
Okay.
You now have the Gen Xers are firmly in charge of today's money.
Right.
These are people that grew up with MTV. They grew up with the internet. They grew up with every piece of information available at their fingertips that they would ever want.
Right.
Lots of graphical impact, commercials that are constantly in their face, fast moving, lots of graphics, colors, everything else. And they expect the same with almost any media that they interface with. They want the information now. And opening an envelope many times is a barrier that they will not work with. They just won't open an envelope. And if it's not a bill, or if it's not a serious piece of mail, many times it just gets torn in half and thrown in the recycle bin. They just don't get open. Now, there are certain times when you have to use an envelope. You don't want to put confidential information on a postcard.
No, of course not.
You don't want to put health information on a postcard.
Right.
You don't want to talk about financial information on a postcard. And if you do use a letter with this group, it can be a very high impact letter. It can have an envelope with some great graphics on it, you know, something that's intriguing that will cause them to stop and look at it and open it. But when you look at the amount of mail, when we look at our mailbox, half of it is number 10 envelopes. Those are the credit card offers, and those are from the insurance companies, and those are, you know, all those types of offers. And many times we don't even open them.
Right, that's true.
They just get recycled.
Yeah.
Now, the other half are the postcards, and those are the fun things. Those are the local restaurants. Those are the
pizza
retail
shops.
stores. Those, yeah. 2-for-1 tea times at the local golf course.
Right. Free oil change.
That stuff always comes on postcards.
Mm-hmm.
And you start to see a better response rate among those types of media because you can get that graphical impact. You understand what it is. You don't have to look at it and read it to understand this is an offer for the local golf course or the local restaurant that has live music every Friday and Saturday night.
Mm-hmm.
They're able to make the picture part of that message and the imagery part of that message. So we tend to respond better. And that's really the biggest reason why somebody would use a postcard. And even when you're talking about products like insurance and things like that, using these high graphical impact formats are actually in your benefit. We're working with a lot of companies now that are starting to make that shift. We've worked with one of the largest insurance companies in the world a few years ago, testing a card that had a postcard that actually had a punch out on it.
Okay.
Where you punched out a character, put it on a stand, and dressed it up on your desk. And it was their most successful direct mail program ever. And somehow they ended up going back to letters. I have no idea why, but so it can be used in any industry as long as you don't have to communicate confidential information in the open. Now, you can use folded cards, put confidential information and things like that, but many times that becomes a letter. And then if you're communicating with seniors, many times they actually have that kind of emotional connection with a letter.
Right.
When you look at the baby boomers, when they were kids, they actually had to write letters saying thank you and for that thoughtful gift, and good things came in letters. Checks came in letters, and cards came in letters. We don't get letters with checks or cards anymore. So
No.
There's no emotional attachment. There's no nice, warm feeling when we see an envelope. It's always a bill.
Right.
It's pretty much always something negative now.
Yeah. Or legalistic. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, I like it, talking about even like larger size postcards. Postal Service in August of 2021 approved bulk rates for 6x9 postcards for first class.
Yep.
And what is it about that size or like sumo size that makes them such a great choice for using for campaigns? Is it like all that extra real estate?
Yeah. And here's the thing. Think about when you get your mail and you're sitting down at the dining room table, pop open a beer, a coffee, whatever, and you're flipping through your mail. How much time do you spend on each mail piece when you decide whether or not you're going to keep it? It's not much.
No.
It's like a half a second. That first pass is, yes, I'm going to keep it, or no, this is going in the recycle bin. And what stands out to you? And next time you're going through your mail, just think about what actually catches your eye. Is it going to be the little 4 1/4 by 6 card that's hiding behind the bill?
Yeah.
Or is it going to be the 6 by 11 that has a picture of a dinosaur on it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Even though it might be for the local hamburger place, but it stands out, and you're going to at least look at it. If you don't at least look at it and read it, you're not going to see what the message is. So many times that larger format will actually have a higher likelihood of somebody picking it up and say, I wonder what this is. If they don't say that, you're dead in the water. It gets thrown in the bin. So you want to have that, I wonder what this is moment.
Right.
And the exercise will make a difference.
Right. So talking like more broadly about direct mail and why it works today, would you say that's like a large part of it, about that whole factor?
Yeah, I think a part of it though is it's proactive versus reactive.
Okay.
When you look at, and this actually comes from something I ask in my seminars a lot. I'll start out by asking how many people are looking at buying a certain product. And one of the examples I use is how many people are looking at getting their carpets cleaned.
Okay.
Which normally the result is pretty disgusting because many times nobody raises their hand.
Wow. That's not good.
Yeah. But it's normally about 1%. And at any given time, I could say, how many of you thinking about buying a new car? How many of you thinking about moving to a new house? And at the end of the day, it's 1 or 2 people in the whole audience will raise their hand.
Mm-hmm.
And look how many advertising dollars are spent trying to identify that 1 to 2%,
right,
that are actually actively looking for our product. All of search engine marketing is spent trying to find somebody that's actually looking for our product.
Right.
That's billions of dollars spent trying to find that needle in the haystack. And all those people once they decide they want to buy something, when you and I decide we want to buy something, what are we going to do? We're going to look for the best price. We like to call it the best value, but it's the best price.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to hunt around. We're going to go online, we'll look at all kinds of different people that sell it and find out where we want to buy that product. Because we've now made the decision to buy that product. Now, 20% of the market doesn't need it anymore. They already have it, or they have all tile and all wood, and they don't need carpet. They don't have any carpet, so they don't need a carpet cleaner. But 79% of it just haven't thought about it yet. The carpet's not dirty enough to get cleaned, or there's nobody coming to the house in the next 30 days that's embarrassed by the dirty carpets.
No, not anymore.
Right, so they haven't thought about it. Well, why not target those people with a reason to buy your product or service? So create kind of that pain point, something that where they say, wow, I really need to get this. So now the transaction is between you and the person who you have just generated the interest in the product. That's who the conversation's with now. They haven't really gone out and done a bunch of research yet. You've now created the need, and now you just have to close the business.
Mm-hmm.
And you've got a massive market available to do that with. You can't do that online. Online is a reactive media.
Right.
Where direct mail is a very proactive media. So you can identify certain markets, like people that have houses with dogs and children, that pretty much need the carpets cleaned a week after they get them cleaned.
Right.
The dogs have been running and bringing in everything from the backyard. The kids have already spilled stuff on the carpet.
Right.
And within a week, you're saying, oh, look, Dad, I just got the carpets cleaned and there's already spots. So by identifying a market that is very likely to need their carpets cleaned on a regular basis, you can then identify those people. And instead of the normal ad that you would see for carpet cleaning is you can get 7 rooms for $49. And we've never gotten 7 rooms for $49. It ends up costing $400.
Right.
But if you took the approach and said, did you know your carpet can be causing any of these sicknesses within your household? Does your family suffer from any of these symptoms? And you start looking down that list and you say, yeah, we have that one and that one. Oh, yeah, Johnny has that. And I've had that. And you start looking through saying, yeah, these are things we suffer from.
Right.
It could be from carpet. Your carpet is a home for virus and bacteria. We'll come out and check your carpet.
Right.
And somebody comes out for free, checks the carpet. They say, yeah, look at all these different viruses that showed up in the test. Your carpet is making your house sick. Now you want to get it done. How much will it cost to get rid of all these viruses? It's going to cost about $400. Same price the guy just did it for that said he was going to do it for $79.
Right.
You're upset. Now you're happy. You're saying, how soon can you do it? Well, I can do it now. I have everything in the car. And he's going to do the same thing to your carpet as the other guy did, but he's doing it for a different reason.
Mm-hmm.
He's eliminating a real issue.
Yep.
It's not how pretty your carpet is that carpets are a constant source of sickness because of all the bacteria and viruses that they actually harbor because they're warm and moist. It's a perfect place.
Yeah, it's like what one of the classic emotional motivators, salvation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Eliminating the pain.
Yep.
We all have pains. We all want to get rid of them. So direct mail allows you to identify the people that are most likely to have that problem that you can fix. And I don't care what product you have or what service. You can identify a problem that you're going to fix. It could be boredom.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
A lot of people suffer from boredom. A lot of people eat bad foods.
True.
Now you can provide them good foods. Or they eat healthy food that don't taste good.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that focus their attention on eating lots of healthy things, but once in a while they really crave a pizza.
Mm-hmm.
So by identifying those markets, it gives you that proactive way to identify somebody before they made the decision. and it allows you to maintain margins and have a loyal customer because you've actually solved the problem of theirs, and they now have that emotional connection with your company and your brand.
Mm-hmm. So wrapping up, what trends do you see unfolding in direct mail going into 2023 and beyond?
Data.
Okay. Always a good answer.
And it's going to get more and more targeted. The data capabilities are growing every day. Getting better and better, more refined. And even with the privacy issues, a lot of the advances being made don't really violate any of the privacy issues, because it's really based on actions a consumer has taken that would then cause a marketing touch. And as those capabilities develop, I think you're going to see some very, very cool new products that are on-demand type products. A lot of those will start to develop into very scaled products that can become enterprise type solutions, where people can be targeted based on needs, issues, things like that. And it's really exciting. We love what we're really getting into now with these trigger programs, and being able to do these programs on demand and seeing the kind of results that our customers are getting is really exciting. And when people sign up for programs, and they don't even want to miss a day because they know that's missed revenue, it really makes it worth it. We're having a great time with it, and I really kind of see that as a direction that not just we're going into, but the industry as a whole.
Awesome. Well, I think that's a great place to wrap up. How can people find out more about Modern Postcard for a possible consultation or partnership for direct mail or an omnichannel campaign, or to get in touch with you?
Reach out to me. I'm the VP of Sales and Marketing with the company, and I can either work with you myself or make sure that you get connected to the right consultant or sales specialist in our organization that understands your industry, that can kind of help you put together a program. We know that there's a lot of moving parts and pieces in the direct mail and integrated media program. So our people are very experienced and well trained in making sure that we can get you the best program possible. So if you can go to modernpostcard.com, we can definitely take care of you. And then my email is keithg@modernpostcard.com. Please reach out to me, and I'll make sure that we get you the right person.
Cool. Well, thanks again so much, Keith, for being here today. And you're welcome. And thank you all out there for joining us today. And if you have any questions for us at Who's Mailing What, Meet the Mailers, or for Keith, please leave in the box below. Show your support for the program by tapping the like button and click on subscribe to be notified of new videos. And if you want to be highlighted in a future Meet the Mailers, I want to hear from you. So my contact info can be found in the paragraph below by tapping Show More. Thanks again for watching Meet the Mailers, and see you next time.